ongoing protest in most of the Western nations, which is called as the West Civil War, has caused or taken aback the attention of rest of the world, because so far majority point of a media houses discussion were restricted to the ongoing crisis in South Asia and Southeast Asia, mostly restricted to the Indian neighbors, that was inclusive of Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and later on in Nepal. It was also extending to Indonesia. But very lately, we started focusing on the Western countries and the ongoing unrest that is going on in these countries. Let us have a look at some of these countries. The first nation being UK. UK is protesting against immigration. Anti-immigration protest is ongoing in UK. So is the case with, of course, Australia. And the most popular one amongst all of this is USA, in which the most important part of the slogan that Americans have started raising, the right wingers or the Republicans have started raising, is regarding Make America Great Again by the Americans. But before we delve into the details of what is ongoing in these Western powers, which are considered to be largely politically stable, and of course the white man's burden to teach civilization to the Oriental world, we have an important update from Legacy IS Academy. Legacy IS Academy is starting up with their new batch on 22nd of September and 16th of September for the regular, that is weekdays batch. For the weekend batch, the new batches is starting from 4th as well as on 25th of October. Some of the important pointers that you should know with respect to the classes that is ongoing in Legacy IS Academy is that they have a very small batch size that ensures that the faculty is able to individually focus on the candidates. But beyond that, if the candidates are still looking for mentorship, of course, we do have the option of one-to-one mentorship, wherein the students can come in contact with the mentors or with the faculties. They can get their papers evaluated. Apart from this, there are also regular tests that are ongoing with respect to prelims as well as with respect to mains. With respect to mains, regular answer writing sessions will be carried out with the classes and the papers will be evaluated on the same day. Apart from this, we do have the test series, the year-long test series more or less with respect to the prelims as well as mains. So please do not wait. You can scan the QR code or call in the number that is mentioned below or click on the link that is mentioned in the description box. Now, moving on to the unrest that is ongoing in the Western world. Talking about this unrest, what is most notable with respect to these unrest is that the Western nations are getting divided, not across the boundaries. Of course, across the boundaries, they are already divided. The Western nations are already divided across the boundaries. But this unrest or this protest that we are talking about is within the domestic nature. So that is why we are calling this as the civil unrest. That is, these countries are ongoing some or the other kind of civil unrest within themselves, and which initially was just a matter of chatter at various table discussions, but now it has come to ground. Now the protesters have started speaking, and these voices are heard out loud in the Oriental world as well. These civil unrest that is ongoing in the Western nations are largely focusing on the polarization. That is, the ideas are completely polarized. They are completely in staunch opposite of each other. Additionally, the protests are ongoing for anti-immigrant. There is ongoing anti-immigrant sentiments. For example, we saw most widely in USA through the H-1B visa and the reviews that the American government is doing with respect to the green cards. But apart from USA or beyond Americas also, we have such kind of regulations ongoing, or at least the protest that is ongoing with respect to UK and in Australia as well. So there is an anti-immigrant sentiment that is ongoing in these nations. Of course, there are anti-globalization policies that are ongoing in these nations, because they have already taken the benefit of globalization, and now what they are moving into is anti-globalization, or what we commonly call as the protectionism. Protectionism basically means they are trying to protect their domestic economy, they are trying to protect their agriculture, their industries, and their manufacturing facilities, so as to ensure that the immigrants do not take up the job, do not take the benefit out of these sectors. One more unrest, the unrest is also focusing on the discussions that is ongoing between liberal elites versus the insurgent populist movement. Now, who are these liberal elites? And who are these insurgent populist movements? What is the ideology of the populist versus what is the ideology of these liberals? This we will be delving in detail. We will also be looking into some of the examples of these liberals versus the populist. So let us understand who are these liberals. Liberals are basically focusing on individuals' rights. They are focusing on multiculturalism and global cooperation. Liberals are the ones who do not see that country in an integrated manner. They who do not see the country or visualize the economic growth of a country in a limited, constrained manner. Rather, they take the charge of carrying out development in the entire region and, of course, beyond the national boundaries. On the other hand, the populists, they are the ones who are mobilizing the losers in the West. So they say, populists say that the native Americans or the native people of UK or the native Australians are the ones who are at the losing side, because the liberals have allowed foreigners or foreign immigrants to come and work in our country. That has led to large scale unemployment, or at least has led to some kind of social unrest. And that is why populists call themselves that they are trying to mobilize the losers, who are residing largely in the West. Talking about the liberals once again, liberals have a view with respect to populist. Liberals view populist as having severe xenophobia. Now, what is xenophobia? Xenophobia is the or rather hatred feeling towards foreign immigrants. So, liberals say that populists have severe xenophobia, whereas populists say that liberals betray their heritage. They have forgotten their heritage, and that is why you are getting dependent on foreigners to carry out the development of your own nation. Now, talking about liberals once again, liberals are supporters of open borders, which of course serve the capitalist interest of cheap labor, or at least development of maximizing profit. On the other hand, populists, they think that migration strains the public services, depresses wages, and erodes the social cohesion. And that is the social unrest that we have been talking about. In the Western nation, populists are gaining attention because of these forces that they have started to bring out, or these pointers that these populists have started to bring out, that they are losing out on their heritage, they are losing out on their social cohesion largely because of the immigrants. Now, talking about some of the examples of the populist movement versus the liberals ideology that is ongoing in the Western nations. Populists follow America first or unite the kingdom, and they call industrial complexes as NGOs. That is, these are non-governmental organization, non-profitable organization, and these industrial complexes are trying to benefit, because you are not related to government, your intention is not to promote employment, so you are benefiting foreign nationals. This is what populists say, and that is why they call industrial complexes as NGOs. On the other hand, liberals, they believe in institutions like European Union and NATO. That is multiculturalism or multipolarity. That is what liberals have been focusing on. On the other hand, populists focus on their nationalism. Now, there is a theory that resides in West stating the great replacement theory. What is the great replacement theory? That elites have deliberately replaced the native populations in their industries. Elites who are owners of these factories and industries have deliberately replaced the native population so as to ensure that they are able to keep control. They are able to control the native population and to entrench their power. Now, out of all these unrest, what are the lessons for India? What are we supposed to learn out of this? That we of course need to keep in mind that we have a large diaspora residing in the West, and any restriction, any ongoing civil unrest and social protest in these nations are going to affect the Indian diaspora residing in these countries. Consequently, we also know this very well, that Indian elites have been benefited because of the West's open border policies. But what we need to learn the lesson from this kind of unrest is that we have so far seen the entire Western world as a collective monolithic West. And at the beginning of the video itself, we have discussed that West is of course divided across the national boundaries, but within these national boundaries also they have started witnessing differences, some cleavages between, of course, the liberals and the populist. So India must keep in mind that there is ongoing unrest in these nations, And we must not consider the entire West as a collective West having monolithic views. We need to engage with these disintegrated parts more closely and at the micro level, so as to ensure that we are able to cater to the demands of Indian diaspora residing in these areas. With that, we come to the end of this topic. If you have any doubt, please do let us know in the comment section below. Thank you so much and all the very best.